Yo, what's up guys, it's Talon. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how understanding your win condition in Wild Rift and really like champion strengths and kind of playing around these different parts of this game. And I'm going to use this game as Renekton to really show you guys how I carry with a team who's frankly playing pretty bad and who falls behind early game. And then I use sort of the understanding of the win condition to still win this game in the later parts of the game. So initially I want to talk first about the lane phase though, just to talk about sort of understanding the win condition of a lane phase. And that is that understanding when your champion on what levels is strongest. So for example, Renekton on level 1 and 2 in the Mordekaiser is not that strong because you don't have your rage bar built up and you don't have your stun to potentially break his shield with your empowered second ability. So early on in the lane, the only thing you're trying to do is dodge his skills and then potentially get the wave push so that you can go and find the enemy jungle like I did there. Now that I found the enemy jungle, I know he's pathing away from me and I can be a bit more aggressive with my trades and focus more on getting to my level 3, building up my rage, and then potentially having the wave in a good spot to then trade more aggressively when I'm on level 3, 4, and 5, especially level 3 and level 5 being my strongest power spikes. You can see how, again, I pushed the wave early. I now let myself kind of freeze it at this point in the game because I know enemy jungle is going away from me. And I know I'm on a stronger point in my lane now in terms of how the matchup goes. And then because of that, I can trade a lot more aggressively with a bigger rage bar built up, continue to build up my rage bar in the lane. And then because my jungle is coming here and I know their jungle can't be coming here because I saw him, again, because of understanding that my only goal in the early parts of the first level or two is just to find the enemy jungle, I'm allowed to snowball the game quickly and get a good lead. So that's kind of the start of the lane phase and how I understood my win condition in the lane phase. And then we're going to go through a few more parts of this early game and then really talk a lot about the late game after that. Okay, so here a skirmish starts to break out, but I'm getting pushed in and the lane is not in a good spot. So you can see how I kind of want to make sure the wave is not just going to straight go under the tower. So I try to hit it a little bit and then I go back to the wave instead of instantly going for this fight. Now, the reason for that is because I'm still going to be able to come to the fight after building up a bit of my rage bar and healing off the wave as well. And if I didn't go to the wave, then I would lose about 150 to 200 gold. So even if I ended up getting a kill, it still wouldn't be that worth it. And again, I'm still a very strong champion. So Renekton is very good at skirmishing on level 5, level 6, like these types of levels early on in the game. And so I'm still happy to go to this fight, but I make sure that I focus more first on getting the wave pushed so that I'm not going to just lose all of those minions for free. So even if I did die, it wouldn't be the worst case scenario. And then we end up going there, getting a kill, and then also baiting out the Yasuo and kind of dodging him and juking him, which was pretty funny as well. Okay, so then into the kind of first dragon fight. So people often don't know when they should rotate versus when they should just simply stay in lane. So the reason here that I'm staying in lane is because a lane or a wave is being pushed and I don't want to lose this wave. However, I am very strong, so I want to be able to rotate, but I know we're probably going to lose the fight anyway. So I was, again, okay with pushing that wave first, and then I'm going to go late. As a tank / bruiser champion, going late to a fight is fine because you want to find flank angles or often being the fights a bit later anyways. So it's perfectly fine to go into the fight slightly late as I did here. And then you can see how we see that the fight's not really going to go to the best. And so we end up just trying to pick off the Mordekaiser here. And then after that, we just sort of try to go over towards the Herald side now because we know the dragon is going to be pretty hard to get into at this point. So then it's kind of understanding the win condition of a team fight. And so how are we going to win this team fight? Well, we're going to win it by killing Soraka. Soraka really has to die or else the fights are just going to go very bad. So you can see here I'm already target locking Soraka and I'm looking for her. Now the issue is I go on the second dash here, which was too deep as you can see, and then I get exhausted and turned on. And so in hindsight, of course, I should not have gone so deep for the Soraka, but in terms of the mindset, it's definitely the correct thing to try to target Soraka and make sure that she's not able to heal up all of her team. Because if Soraka goes untargeted in fights, then we're going to easily lose the fights. And so I really understand at this point already, the game is going to be very hard. How are we going to win? Well, we're going to win if we eliminate Soraka very quickly in these fights. And if we don't, then it's obviously going to go very poorly. But here, of course, we did overextend a bit, which makes the fight not go very well. Okay, guys, so now I need to understand how am I going to win this game now that we're down 3,500 gold, we're down a dragon, and a dragon is spawning in 35 seconds. Well, to me, I can only rotate to this fight if I'm going to hit a power spike. Now, luckily for me, I'm 200 gold away from Steric's Gauge, and I know hitting Steric's Gauge is one of the strongest points for my champion as an individual. So I can rotate to this fight if I'm able to push this wave out, keep the lane pushing so they don't get a free turret, and then recall for Steric's and find a flank angle. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the Scorpion to push the wave wave, if Mordekaiser did stay on me, I would just stay to gain a bigger advantage in the side lane because I am pretty strong right now. But because I'm able to recall for the Sterix Gauge, and again, even if I'm a little late to the fight, I can find a flank angle. And I really want you to notice how I'm playing this fight. Again, what did I say? Soraka is the champion that needs to die or the fight is unwinnable. The only chance we have of winning a fight is if Soraka dies. So what am I going to do? I know Soraka's going to group with her team. I need to find a weird way to get around somehow. So you can see here, I'm going to go dash over the wall, go behind them to try to be spotted on vision for the least amount of time possible. Build up my ultimate so that I build up my rage bar, and then try to go in onto 5 people and target Soraka to potentially blow her flash or do other things. Now you're going to see here I make a bit of a mistake that I don't get my reset on my third ability, so I'm not able to follow her as well as I would have liked to, but I still force her to flash out on 1 HP so she's not able to help her teammates out as much, and this makes the fight a lot more hectic and gives us the potential to win the fight. Again, I go onto the Soraka, and because I'm very strong with the Sterix Gauge, I'm able to kill her. Now, did I play the fight perfectly? No. I made mistakes in this fight, which made it go a bit more poor, and my team obviously is very behind, so it's still going to be a very hard fight, and it doesn't work out. Even though it didn't work out, this was really the perfect approach to the fight that I had in terms of the setups, recalling on my item spike, keeping the lane pushed, so that the bottom lane doesn't, you know, get pushed in. We don't lose gold there. And even though the fight didn't work out, this is the type of approach I know I need to a fight in order to win. And then in terms of itemization, you're going to see that my third item I realize needs to be Mortal Reminder because I need the anti-heal going on to Soraka. I need the burst damage from it to kill Soraka as well. And just overall, I need a damage item to one-shot someone. So that's how I identify as well that my itemization can as well help me with my goal in terms of killing the Soraka in the later parts of the team fight. So now to this point, until the dragon is spawning, I'm really going to focus on getting myself enough gold to get to that Mortal Reminder and potentially play around that item power spike later on. And so then you're going to see here, I understand I need to be on the side lane, the opposite side of the objective as the split pushing top laner who is pretty strong in order to potentially draw people to me. But then once I've pushed the lane and have the lane pushing, I realize there's a potential fight breaking out in the mid lane. And so now I can find, again, a flank angle, which is exactly what I know I need to keep doing in these fights. I need to go behind the enemy and really pincer them behind my team so that the Soraka doesn't have many places to go. And so again, pushing that wave initially rather than just hovering in mid lane, like I know so many low elo players would do, allows me to not only get that extra gold from the top lane, which allows me to get to my goal of getting Mortal Reminder by the third dragon, but simultaneously gives me the angle to find another late flank onto the Soraka, which then makes her die and allows this fight to go much better. So even though, again, the fight doesn't go perfectly because we are behind, the game is still not going well, we find these angles where we're at least able to make the fights go even or kill some people, blow a stasis, blow a flash, blow these different things from the Soraka, setting us up for these potential later fights to go better just because we're getting these certain cooldowns down and I'm getting myself closer and closer to the mortal. And you're going to see here, obviously I haven't yet. I'm currently acting as if I'm going to build Black Cleaver, but then when I recall, I start realizing, oh, I'm going to get Mortal Reminder, and so then I end up building towards that. Okay, guys, so then for this fight, we didn't end up quite reaching Mortal Reminder fully, but we got the anti-heal component and the Last Whisper component, so I'm still strong enough to potentially fight this and try to deny the enemy's soul. You're going to see again how I initially will go through the top side trying to find another flank angle because I know same setup, I need to get behind them, I need to get onto Soraka right away. I'm going to target lock Soraka, I'm going to do the same thing. And you guys saw the fights weren't necessarily working out perfectly for all these fights, but we were getting fights to at least go roughly even despite the game, you know, being behind in terms of gold and me not even being on a scaling champion. So once again, you see, I try to go target the Soraka here, we get a stun on her, we make her flash out early, which means that our team can follow up on her. Soraka dies really fast. Again, you might be like, oh, well, your teammate blew him up, right? Who set that up? I'm the one who puts us in a position to kill that Soraka because I blow her flash early. I understand how we need to play the game. And then even when all of this happens and goes really well, it's still an even fight where we trade 3 for 3 at the end. So even in these fights, we're just inching towards a victory, but all of these fights are so close. Again, because I'm just making the Soraka's game miserable. And the opponents are not understanding they need to protect their Soraka. And this is a common thing. Just the same way as many people don't understand playing around a win condition, many people don't understand protecting their win condition. And since the enemy didn't realize they need to protect Soraka in these fights, we're often able to blow her up here. Even when they are grouped, we're often able to find her, you know, just through these flank angles and through these unique kind of situations where we're setting up. Now we hit our Mortal Reminder and we're a lot stronger going into the next kind of fight as well. So that's obviously a pretty good situation to currently be in, even if the game is still looking very hard. And so again, guys, everything that we did allowed us to get to the Elder Dragon, where now the Elder Dragon is where the game can really completely flip on its head, even though we are behind. And so here, I was side laning trying to get gold, but you notice how I don't recall here, even though I have some gold to spend, and that's because I hit my 3 items already. And I know I'm not really going to be that much stronger if I don't hit my full Twin Guard, which I'm just not going to be able to do. And so notice how I stay around trying to find the angle for the fight, because because I know my positioning and vision of this fight is way more important than a little bit of an item, because if I had full twin guard, I would recall because I'd be significantly stronger. But you can see instead, I'm trying to tell my team, and I want to really note this. We saw a Mumu here. We know he might be late. He might use the Hex Gate, but he's not going to be there immediately because we saw him on the map briefly. And so I tell my team, attack the Elder, and I just try to flip it. And now why am I okay with taking this 50-50 where maybe the enemy hits the smite, maybe we hit the smite on the Elder Dragon? Because we're losing the game, because we're behind. We have less than a 50% chance of winning the game. And if you have less than a 50% chance of winning the game, then taking the 50-50 on the Elder Dragon is going to increase your chance of winning the game. My teammate tries to stop the Amumu and then ends up doing a very good job of stopping Amumu, which is a great thing for my teammate to understand that Amumu is not there now. He can't smite. I'm zoning their damage dealer and their Soraka off of my team so that they won't be a worry, and then easily we're able to now get the Elder Dragon where my teammate ended up finding the Amumu. I'm zoning 2 of them off and my team flips the Elder Dragon. So this was some good gameplay by my teammates here as well to end up understanding that that Elder Dragon is really the win condition. And then we get that Elder Dragon, which allows us to potentially now go for the Baron, because typically after you do get the Elder Dragon, the Baron is the next thing that you might want to go for. But we end up having a bit of a messy fight here, and I don't think we immediately end up getting the Baron. But that Elder Dragon, again, gives us some gold, lets us win the fight, and then puts us in a position where we're now actually in a relatively even state going into the rest of the late game. So since our jungler's dead and we don't have the damage to do the Baron immediately after getting that Elder, we're going to use our extra time on the map to squeeze gold out of the map. So I get this mid turret, I get the lane pushed, and then I try to get positioning because I know the Baron is what we want next. So I'm starting to just sit around the Baron, looking and kind of hovering for any potential play to happen. I see a Mumu, and so I want to kill a Mumu, because if we do kill a Mumu, we get the Baron. And so we force out his Gargoyle. So even if we didn't immediately kill him, he's now not able to use his Gargoyle. And our team, because we have the Elder Dragon, can zone them off as our damage dealers potentially go for the Baron. And so you're going to see my team, I believe, does start up the Baron as we're sort of sitting here looking to zone and potentially just find anyone. Now notice how I realized that I'm not going to be that useful hitting the Baron, because I'm just a Renekton. I don't even do that much damage. I'm the front line trying to zone the enemy from being able to steal it, because I'm very tanky. I have my Gargoyle, my Sterix, and I know if I'm just sitting here just annoying the Amumu, keeping him off, not letting him walk up, we're going to easily get the Baron. And then because I'm just a tank in the late game, I'm not necessarily a big strength in terms of pushing. So instead, I'm going to be the one to go grab the T-Rex, and then I'm going to use this T-Rex to push and get us a bigger advantage to set us up potentially for the next Elder Dragon. I don't expect to actually be able to end the game here because we don't have the best sieging for our team. We only really have Jinx, who's good at taking turrets. Everyone else is sort of not great. I mean, Volibear obviously can dive the turrets, but that's only for one turret that he's going to have his ultimate up for there. And so instead, I'm using this time to push the bottom side, to get the lanes pushed, to get us some gold. And what I'm really doing, and you guys might not actually realize this, is I'm using the fact that the third ability and first ability from the T-Rex gives you bonus gold and instantly kills minions to find as much gold on minions as I can. Because I know Randuin's Omen is going to be an amazing 5th item for me. They have a Yasuo and they have a Lucian, both crit champions. So I know that if I'm able to get to that item spike for the next Elder Dragon, I'm actually going to be extremely strong. And so I'm trying to get as much gold out of this as possible. I try to push the turret with the T-Rex, but once we see that not working out, we end up going to get this mid wave again, and then we go for the bottom wave after that because we know we can get the bottom turret. And so I'm basically just getting as much gold out of this T-Rex as possible. And then you're going to see at the end of this T-Rex, I end up having 2,800 gold, which is enough for Randuin's Omen. So then I hit that 5 item spike, and then it allows me to be significantly stronger for the rest of the game. And so I'm going to skip through here a bit to sort of show you guys exactly that's what happened basically. And notice how my team actually inted here. My entire team killed themselves and made really dumb plays here, but what do I care? I don't, because there's no objective up. Nothing's going to happen as long as I keep the lanes pushed like I have. I recall for my Randuin's Omen. We're still going to be in a spot to set up for the next Elder Dragon. And so watch here again. It's not going to go perfectly, but we're going to end up finding, now that we're super strong on 5 items, I'm pretty much the strongest that I'm going to get. The enemy will slightly overextend here, and even though my Galio again goes in and makes a mistake. So notice here, my teammates aren't playing that well for a majority of this game. They're making a lot of dumb mistakes, frankly. I mean, again, he dies there, but I'm still able to find this pick. And then I set up for the Elder Dragon. What do? I go in because I know I'm very strong. And again, I'm trying to find Soraka because Soraka is potentially the champion who we can kill. And so notice here, I dash straight through everyone, straight onto Soraka, force her flash, follow her with the dash. She ends up stasising, and we continue to just focus on her. So again, even in this hectic fight where there's 4 people on me and I'm taking a bunch of damage, I'm still identifying who I need to target in the game and how I'm going to win. And through this itemization as well, I'm able to easily carry this fight. And so even though my team entered, they made mistakes, they died a lot, they lost their lanes, I was the only one with the lead. Through all of these different setups and understanding of win conditions, understanding I need to target Soraka, I need to play around my item spikes, I need to use the T-Rex to make sure to get pressure, to set up for the Elder Dragon. I need to understand all of these different things. When we're behind, we can flip the Elder Dragon because that's going to be our best chance of winning. All of these different things set us up to win a nearly unwinnable game where my entire team, frankly, was not very good and was not playing well. And then we ended up, just putting ourselves in such a good position to win this game anyways. So I hope you guys learned a lot from this video. Let me know if you like this format where I sort of skip through different parts of the game rather than going over the game as a whole. As always, as a rank 5 sovereign autoflip player, I do coaching for just $15 an hour. So DM me on Discord if you're interested in that, or through the link in the description, you can join my Discord server as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video.